Welcome back to Tactics Talk with Guido. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. On today's episode, we are going to discuss active scouting. As most of you know, I prefer passive scouting in general, although most maps support active scouting much more than they do passive. Proc is a good passive scouting map. When I initially loaded in, I was going to head up to the bush at approximately E1 or so. But you can see that I've got another 1357F headed over that way, and I suspected he was going to try to get into that bush. Instead of both of us try to get up there and get in each other's way, I change my plan and I head to the middle for some active scouting, and I decide to surf the ridge on proc, which is an outstanding way to do active scouting. The thing that helps that as well is that there are two artillery on my side, but I also have to understand there are two artillery on their side. Picking where you're going to top on this ridge is important because all the spots are not created equal. Too far over there and you're talking about the bowl that sits about right here, and while you can look into the bowl, you have a hard time seeing down this way. Right in about this area, from about the rock to right here where this rise starts, is very flat. You can find yourself getting popped quite easily there, and you can't get quite up and over enough to look down far without really cresting and putting a lot of your tank in danger. So I'm going to pick where this little rise is, and you'll see this as I come up right there, that I can come up here and put less of my turret up. But even so, I get a little too high, and I take a shot from the WZ-131, who fortunately misses me right there. That is something to think about. When they have other scouts, you can pretty much figure there's going to at least be one surfing right there, and the big guns in the back are looking to take shots at you, and the scouts are looking to hit you as well. So be careful on that approach. As there are two artillery, you'll see me jinking and jiving, and I'll come right up here. Now, this was a bit of a mistake right here, and I'll do this a couple times, and I'll show you when I don't do it. But simply cresting, turning around while you're still lit, and coming right back up to the ridge is going to get you shot at with more accurate return fire. Because if you haven't gone dark down below, and you come back up, they can be then looking for lead fire on you. Now, see the WZ-131 lit me again, so I don't want to pop up right this moment. As a matter of fact, I want to try to make any shots from artillery coming at me as difficult as possible. And in general, I get shot at a couple times, but because I'm jinking and jiving so much, they tended to leave me alone for most part of this battle. So I'll come back up where this ridge is again, take a little looky-loo, and you'll see that I get into the flat, and that was not a great spot. See how long it took me to get back down the hill right there, and the JT 8.8 just happens to miss. But I'm lighting guys as we go, and we'll head back up here, and from here it's just more of the same. You're going to rinse and repeat, wash, rinse, and repeat. But you want to try and be a little bit wily as far as the timing. You'll notice though that we don't have anybody really on the 6th line, and I've got a Conqueror over there. So the danger with him right there is if he can get up there without being spotted by our guys up on the hill, if he can come up there a little ways, he can actually get shots at me while I'm trolling around on the ridge right here. So that can be a big problem. He would be less of a threat if I had a tank of our own sitting right here. But what you will find on proc is when there are a couple arty, people are really not interested in going on the 5-6 line because they get nuked. Unfortunately, the enemy team had a Conqueror who decided he could. He's a good hold-down tank, so it wasn't a bad choice on his part. So at this point, I am doing the active scouting thing, and I'm trying to get as many lights for the artillery, as many lights for the sniper TD sitting back as I can get. Trying to keep the enemy busy, and I almost ran into that TD right there. Trying to keep the enemy tanks busy enough that they don't get any kind of organization and start pushing in. But I'm also watching the hill fight up there and looking for an opportunity to come over here and maybe get some shots into their side. I just don't have the depression right here to make this happen, otherwise I could have dropped a few into the E75. And I'm also not interested in sitting around here for very long, because if something comes up and over on the 5 or 6 line, then all of a sudden the artillery is raining down on top of me. So I mess around here with this E75 for a bit, see if I can get some shots, and no go. So no reason to waste anything. Now, interestingly, what I noticed there is, because I'm a scout and carry good camo, even though I popped up there, that Conqueror did not see me. So I filed that information away for later, and we'll head back over here and see if we can't get some lights. Now, I'm the only guy that's kind of holding down this middle. Since I don't have anyone on 5 and 6, I've got to kind of ping-pong back and forth and keep the enemy team honest. come on up here. The one good thing about not having anybody on the 5 or 6 line is that they're not taking any artillery fire. So there is that. Now, I just happen to have a lot of TDs on this team, but we have taken a big loss so far. We are down, what is that, 5 tanks to 1. So things are not looking great. The good news is that they did take out, or we did take out, one of their artillery. So because I know that Conqueror's having a hard time seeing me here, I come up there, he doesn't see me, outstanding. I know that I do have an opportunity to get up here and either take a plink at him or potentially shoot at guys on the hill. So I'll plink him once. Expected to get lit, but I didn't. And then I noticed the Oni late. So we'll come up here. And unfortunately he goes dark and I can't see him, and he's going to die momentarily as the WZ blind shoots him up there. So active scouting. I haven't been over to the right side for a while. I can tell that things are not going great over there. You can see that our E-75 wandered into him and got killed. And now I've got this prototype come up here into kind of a bad position for him. He is very lit right here. So I'm going to come up here and take some shots on him. And the good news is I'm actually not getting lit for a little while here. And that's the greatness of the autoloader. I just plunk the whole clip into him without being spotted. And now let's get out of here. And the T-71's in there. Now, one thing you want to do counter scout wise is take opportunities to take out scouts, but right now I can't really do that without getting mauled myself. The T-71 and the WZ are more or less at 100 hit points, and I don't have any real great capability to jump on them. I'd love to. I've got the autoloader and the clip to do it, but especially in the case of the T-71, he's going to return plenty of fire. Also realize that in order to do that, I'm going to have to do a bunch of circling, which is going to probably expose me to artillery and fire from their TDs. Now that T-25, once he got lit, I knew that little ridge was there and I just hid behind it. I took the chance that their artillery wasn't ready to whack me, and I knew I had TDs behind me, so just hold on there for a moment. Cavalry's on the way and down he goes. Now you can see that we are getting back up to even, and I noticed that the T-71 is still trolling there as well as the WZ-131, and I'm just keeping a look. You'll notice my camera work, I am really just switching around my view because I want to see if I got guys coming behind me trying to poke over, where is the last known position based off of the mini map, and what guys can I actually see and when. And there goes the WZ. Now of course the enemy's doing the exact same thing. The good news is that we've got TDs that are bushed up and they're probably having a hard time really seeing anything. So I see this WZ, or sorry, the T-71, and he's gone into this bull. So that's kind of an exposed position. So I'm just going to come up here and light this guy again, see if I can't get some help whacking him. Nope, but he gets away, so he runs off. And I just continue to move around and work this ridge. You'll notice that I am the only guy forward, other than the Udes is a little bit forward, and we got some guys up on the hill. There's one tank on the back side of the hill, so they probably don't feel like they can come up and over. There's the Conqueror and his buddy hanging out right next to him there. So a bit of a stalemate. So at this point I'm just trying to find, hey, where'd that Conqueror go? Kind of interested in him. I've also got the 8.8's position filed away. He's kind of a slow tank, and he was sort of hanging out in the middle over there quite a bit this game, so I'd love to find him again. He might still be there. In fact, there he is. There's the T-71 and there's the 8.8. So now I'll just kind of watch, and I'm watching the 8.8's general area as I shift my camera around because I want to see if artillery shells go in there and hit that guy. Okay, one went in. So let's go find out what happened to him. Reasons to pop are to facilitate shots by artillery or TDs. If he's that far down, it's probably going to be artillery. If both my artillery fired, then turning right around and popping again and exposing myself is probably not really required. If I give it that good 20-25 seconds for the reload on the artillery, then I can pop up and maybe they can hit him again. And holy cow, look at this. The WZ's gone up onto the hill. And I know the T-71's been hanging out in the back quite a bit. So I'm just going to actually come up here and stop for a moment. Take this opportunity to drop my clip in on this guy. And he goes down. There's the WZ. I've got two more. And one more shot. And now I'm lit. So I've got to move. That means I've been lit for 3 seconds at least. And it took me another couple to get going out of there. So I've got to really worry about artillery. Do the jink and jive thing, get my reload going on for my new clip, and let's ping pong back to the other side. Hey, let's see if we can't find this T-71. What is that guy doing now? Put a few hits on the WZ. We killed their T-32. Actually, we're getting into a bit of a lead now. None of my team seems to be very aggressive. Okay, so they're all driving TDs. They're all kind of hanging out in the back. So I don't really have an opportunity yet to get in there and start working guys over. Plus, as has been the case for most of the game, I am the only guy in the middle. Now look at that. So I just facilitated some damage on the T-71. He's hurt. I'm going to take this opportunity to shark on in there and take him out. Now I have a little trouble getting this stupid auto aim on this guy. Takes me a little bit to do, but we're going to get there. And I'm just running out of there. Off we go. Now I was going to accept maybe not killing him. Just one strafing run, and if I didn't quite get there, that's fine. I'll deal with it later, because what I didn't want to do was trade any more hit points for getting him out. I'd already missed a couple and goobered up my auto aim, so it did not go as well as I'd wanted to. But we end up getting him out. And that's one of those ambush things. So that's something you always want to be ready to flex to when you're driving a scout. If you see an opportunity like that, jump on it immediately. Don't let them recover and then move on. But of course, it's not time for me to YOLO in. I knew the 8.8 was over there, and hey, I found the Conqueror again. There's that guy. So, I'm sorry, that's not the 8.8, it's the Conqueror and the IS-2. So those are juicy targets for the artillery, and now my entire purpose in life is making sure these two get rained on by artillery. So instead of just coming up and appearing immediately, I wait for a few potatoes, and now all of a sudden I see this JP2 hanging out over here. Oh, and Artie. Alright, so now I think I've got another opportunity to maybe get my gun in the game. Initially wanted to shoot at him, and then I thought, oh, let's just go after this dude. Miss. Kill him, and I'm probably going to get spotted here pretty soon. No, let me just light these guys up, see what we got over here. There they are. And now we'll head off. Now this was dangerous because I really got up into the flat right there. Somebody took a shot, lucky that he missed. And now dodging around. So probably a little bit over aggressive right there. I didn't really need to come up into that bowl. What I needed to do was reload, get off of the ridge, and then come back later and figure out what's going on. So just a little over aggressive in there. The WZ-121 FT is still back there, so if he hits me, I'm going to have a bad day. And they're down to 4 tanks. We got guys coming up on the ridge. Not really aggressive. There goes the Conqueror. Outstanding. Now I'm going to do some of the only passive I do this game. I'm just going to kind of come up into this bush. See if I can get my binocs cooking and maybe catch somebody out. Moving around. Maybe not as camo as I thought. And now I see that my guys are pushing, so I'm going to help and facilitate the push. Still got 2 artillery as well, so they are also helpful. And I have gone to my gold round. So we're at that critical phase in the game. I might as well crank up the gold. The intention is at some point I'm going to find somebody to circle strafe, and most of these things are decently armored. I knew the IS-2 was probably in that area, so we found him. Spin around here, and I've got the 2 TDs coming up. Coming around, looking at the TDs. And now I'll just go in there on this guy, so we'll get the auto aim going. Oh, and wham, I just get hammered by the WZ and very thankfully missed by the IS-2, but I will not be missed for long. And there I go down to the WZ, who has fired again. So he's hit me twice in that span of time. Those tanks are ridiculous, but every new premium is ridiculous at this point in the game. To include this one, to be quite honest, it's a fantastic tank, and since they didn't nerf it when they changed the scouts, it's OP, which means it's fun to run. However, any fast scout tank can basically do what I just did on that ridge, minus the autoloader particulars. If it's not an autoloader, obviously, you would fight some of that stuff a little bit different as far as doing the damage goes, but running the ridge and how to fight or play a match as an active scout, it's a good example. I like to try to give concrete, actual good examples of things that we like to say about, hey, active scout, run the ridge. What does that look like? Well, it looks a lot like what we just did there. I didn't set up the settings, so let me do so right now with the battle notifications because the numbers are pretty decent, and I'll show you the results after this as well. But you're looking at, it was actually over 5,000 based on damage done through spotting, and 1,772. I did not block a shot. All right, guys, I hope this helped somebody out there and you like what you saw. If it helped you and you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe, support the channel, and as always, we will see you.